How's it going, guys? Hope everybody's good. Today's video, as you can tell from the title, is going to be about HMP Nottingham. There's been 5 deaths in 4 weeks at that prison. 5 deaths in a month, in 4 weeks, right? That is more than the whole of last year, right? Up to February this year. 5 people dead in a month. One of them was 22-year-old Mark Mamsby, who died on the 13th of October. You got Shane Stroughton, died on age 29 years old on September the 13th. You've got Andrew Brown, who died age 42 on the September the 17th. Recalled for breaching a suspended sentence, guys. He got a suspended sentence. He got a 48-week suspended jail sentence, suspended for a year, because he caused £70,000 worth of like cancellations and stuff like that, of like by stopping trains, by being on the tracks and stuff. But for trespassing, guys, he got a 48-week suspended jail sentence, suspended for a year. He also assaulted a police officer, and then he got breached and ended up in prison. And yeah, and like I say, he took it, like, he's dead. He took his own life. The IMB report shows that there's a huge problem, just like there is in many prisons up and down the country, or nearly all prisons in the country, of drugs and violence. The prison's a Category B prison. It holds 1,060 prisoners from the Nottingham and Derbyshire area. So, like, from the court, because from every courthouse, guys, in the UK, you go to a specific prison, sorry. But if that prison's full, or it's what they call locked out, you can end up in any prison, anywhere. But yeah, 12 months to February, guys, right? 5 prisoners died in a year. 5 died in a month. It's ridiculous, guys. It shows the prison system for what it is, guys, right? It shows the death, the misery, the despair, the mental anguish. Prisons, guys, are, according to a lot of media reports and stuff, certain papers write bullshit. Oh, prison's cushy and all this. It's not cushy at all, guys. Prisons are very lawless. They're understaffed. Mental health, it plays a big part. In the last 12 months, we've seen record numbers of assaults and self-harm. 26,643 incidents of violence in a 12-month period. 606 of them were deemed as serious. 7,159 of them were on prison officers. Self-harm, 40,414 incidents in a 12-month period. The prison currently stands, the prison capacity in the UK is currently just in excess of 86,000. Like I say, guys, the staff are not mentally health trained. Understaffing leads to long periods of sustained bang up, which obviously for those that have already got mental health problems, it makes them a lot worse. And it also, in my opinion, starts mental health problems, because we're social people, we're social creatures and stuff, and being locked up for that amount of time, I think has a detrimental effect on your mental health. I really do believe that. But like I say, how bad must it be for a prisoner in his mind, right? Obviously, I'm a former prisoner. I've contemplated suicide while I've been inside. I can stand on my head doing my prison, dead easy. But every time, like, you will hit rock bottom. Don't care how big and how bad you are. At some time or another, prison will get to you. But like I say, because we're macho and we're blokes and we're guys and we're all that stuff, right? We don't like talking about it, do we? Oh no, prison's easy, it's cushy, it's this, it's that, right? You don't focus on the negatives, do you? Because we're guys and we're macho and we don't want to let anybody know that prisons get to us. But prison does get to everybody. Don't care how big and how bad you are. Simple as that. So how bad must it be where a prisoner comes to take his own life? Suicide, self-harm. Of the 5 that died in the last 12 months, 2 of them were from self-harm. And obviously the other 3 must have, I don't know if they strung up, hung themselves, or whatever. But God bless them. May they rest in peace, and my thoughts and my prayers are with their family. So, but like I say, 5 in a month, right? From September into October, right? 5 deaths in a month is just, it's beyond words, guys. And yet the Ministry of Justice do absolutely nothing. The Ministry of Justice wants to build more prisons, but then they talk about decreasing prison numbers. How are they planning to decrease prison numbers? by driving people to suicide. How bad must somebody's mind be, right, where they seek suicide as a way out? How bad must it be? Because I'll tell you something, if they was in their free world, if they wasn't in prison, would they have taught the course of action that they did? No, absolutely not. Like I say, we've all got issues, we've all got problems and stuff. When you're in prison, prison, in my honest opinion, from what I've seen with my own eyes and my experiences myself and my moods and stuff, it magnifies magnifies any problems you've got times 1,000. When you sat there and stuff, and you've got a lot of time to think and stuff, you don't know what's happening outside your cell, outside your landing, outside the wing, outside the prison walls, right? You sat there in limbo and you do a lot of reflecting and stuff. And if you've got issues and stuff, you start to reflect on them issues and you start to think, look, I'm never going to get out of prison. The hours feel like days, the days feel like months, the months feel like years. And like I say, boredom and stuff, people take drugs for many different reasons. Some are addicts when they go in. Some people have never taken drugs in their life, go into prison, and to escape the realization of the surroundings and stuff, they turn to drugs. Because of the boredom, they take drugs. Because of their issues and they're not being medicated, because the staff are not mental health trained, they take drugs. Like I say, and then you've got the high, but then you've got the lows that come with it and stuff when you come down off the drugs and stuff. And like I say, for 5 people in a month to die, I mean, one at age 22, Mark Mansby, God bless him, my thoughts and prayers are with his family. Just let that resonate. I don't care. You're going to get some goody two-shoes. Oh, prisoners, fuck them. We don't care. Prisoners are human beings, guys, right? And yes, they broke the law, and having your liberty taken away, that's the punishment. Prisons, for me, should be about the REs. Reform, rehabilitation, re-education, reintegration back into society, and then re-employment and stuff and everything else. But like I say, I live in a fantasy world, don't I? But 22 years old Mark Mansby, God bless him, right? Shane Stroughton, 29 years old. Rest of his life ahead of him, right? We've made mistakes, we've fucked up. Yeah, we end up in prison. Andrew Brown, 42-year-old, got a suspended sentence, right? And then obviously breached it, and then ended up inside. He obviously wasn't set for prison, but again, prison does funny things to a man. I feel sorry for prisoners and prisoners' families up and down the country. I don't care. Like, I've got compassion for people, guys. I feel sorry for them. The mental anguish you go through in prison. When you get out, best feeling ever. But while you are in prison, yeah, you'll have good times and you might have a couple of laughs, right? And you'll have a laugh. But focus on the negatives. When you're down, when you're depressed, when you can't see your kids, when you can't see your family, when you've only got one visit a week, when you're locked up for 22, 23 hours a day, depending on what prison you're in, what regime you're running. And like I say, the Ministry of Justice do nothing. I do many interviews, guys, speaking for prisoners, families and stuff. Like I say, I'm not an expert. I just speak through my experiences and stuff. But 5 deaths in a month in one prison is absolutely astronomical. It's mind-blowing. It's upsetting. It breaks my spirit, breaks my heart. And then, like I say, just this year, figures were released from the National Office of Statistics about record numbers of highs of assaults and self-harm. Next year, you'll see another high of record numbers of assaults, self-harm and suicides and deaths within prison. 1 death in prison is too much. 1 suicide in prison is too much. 1 self-harm case in prison is too much. We should be decreasing prison numbers. IPP prisoners should be cut loose immediately and stuff, but obviously government haven't got a clue. The prison system just needs common sense. Unfortunately, all these high educated MPs that are in power within the Ministry of Justice and stuff, they're clueless. It evades them. Then they want to build more prisons. More prisons, more prisoners, more problems. More death, more suicide, more misery, death and despair. More riots, smoking ban, mental anguish, mental health problems, drugs, new psychoactive substances like spice, alcohol. All the ingredients are there, guys, right? And for me, the prison system, it's not going to be if, it's going to be simply when. It's going to explode. It's going to explode. And I'm sick of saying it. I'm sick to the back teeth of saying it. 5 deaths in a month, guys. 5 families broken. 5 prisoners dead. Like I say, with understaffing and stuff, the only time you see a screw is when you get unlocked for your dinner, unlocked for social, or when there's a roll count. Roll count, for those that don't know, is where they pop your flat, they look in for 5 seconds to see that you're in there, then they just mark a number one or a number two, depending on how many people in your cell, move on to the next one. Night clockies are covering, in my last prison, the night clocky that didn't have any keys, I'd covered 4 wings, right? So if you can imagine, if someone was strung up and stuff in that period, and by the time they come back around, that person's dead. When prisoners are self-harming and stuff, and they're on the buzzers, right? The buzzers, in your cell, you've got a buzzer. You press the buzzer, it's an emergency. Screws ignore it. If you keep pressing it too much, the screws will just ignore it. They just let it ring and ring and ring and ring. That person could have severed an artery, right? And some people self-harm and it's a cry for help. Others trying to sever arteries and stuff, and the carotid artery in your neck and stuff, or your leg, or like your femoral artery and stuff like that, then you're going to bleed out. You're going to bleed out fast, guys. And like I say, you've got listeners in prison. Listeners are prisoners that have, like, they've done a course and stuff, and you can go and speak to them and stuff in confidence. But again, we're guys, we're macho. We don't want to say that we're down and we're depressed and we miss our families, or we miss our kids, or we're having suicidal thoughts, or you're battling depression, or do you know what I mean, you're contemplating suicide. Because we're guys, it's macho. We don't do that sort of stuff, do we? There's a lot of like problems, like a lot of like stigmas attached to mental health and stuff. And we need to break them stigmas down, guys. There's no shame in suffering with mental health problems, guys. Life is cruel. Life affects us all. Everyone has issues. I don't care if you're a multi-millionaire or you've not got a pot to piss in. We all suffer. We've all got issues. We're all up. We're all down. Life is like a roller coaster, guys. You're at the top. You're at the bottom. You're at the top. You're at the bottom. You're at the bottom. You're at the bottom. You're at the bottom. Then things, bam, you're at the top of the world. Then you're down. Then you're up. Money problems, financial worries, job worries, court worries, because you're coming up to court, you can end up in prison. You sat in prison, you've lost your property because you can't pay your rent because you're in prison. So you're going to be homeless when you get out. You've got no support network, you've got no family. Your criminality's, like, your family fucked you off because your criminality is so bad. There's not enough done for prisoners, guys. There really isn't. Some great foundations on the outside and organisations like Clean Sheet and Back on Track and stuff like that, and gaining skills, training, education for prisoners, right? That should take place inside prison, across the country, of every different crime, of every different category of prisoner, from A down to your Cat Ds, right? That's just my honest opinion. 5 deaths in a month, man. I can't even tell you. It kills me. It really does kill me. No pun intended there in any way, shape or form. Breaks my spirit, man. Like I say, prison should be places of reform, rehabilitation. People that have got mental health problems, my honest opinion, when it comes to courts, if you've got a long history of mental health problems and stuff, your doctor should write a letter to the court. The judge should look at this and think, right, is the prison going to do him more harm than good, right? Prison, like I say, prison should be places of reform and rehabilitation. And like I say, community orders, for me, are far more productive than actually sending someone to prison willy-nilly. Like I say, if you're sending someone to prison for a short sentence that's got severe mental health problems, you're asking for trouble, guys. Prison, you've got, in a prison, right, you might have over 1,000 people, 1,400, 1,600 people, and you're all on different journeys. When one's up, the other one's down. When the other one's down, the other one's up. You're all got different temperaments, different mentalities and stuff. You've all got different things that make you tick and stuff. Like I say, and being locked up for sustained periods and stuff, the food, bullying, now the smoking ban, people paying over £100 for an ounce, leads on to drug debts. Drug debts then come with it threats. If you don't pay, then you can get beat up. So it just fuels bullying, violence, anger, mental health problems. Adding to the mix, understaffing, new psychoactive substances, prison alcohol known as hooch, drugs, paranoia, and all the other things, guys, right? Explosive consequences. Prisons are lawless. Prisons are dangerous. And it's led into 5 prisoners taking their own lives. And it's sad to see. It really is sad to see. I mean, the Ministry of Justice, guys, should be open and clear when it comes to deaths in custody. Unfortunately, they try to keep a lid on stories getting out. That's why if you've got someone in prison, a loved one or a family member, yeah, if there's been a death in custody, get the names out, get the cells out, whether it's your family member, whether it's somebody else's. We all have a duty of care to keep the pressure on the Ministry of Justice to sort out the shit state that we call prisons. Right, guys, I'm going to leave this video here. My thoughts and my prayers go out to the victims and stuff, and the victims' families that have taken their own lives in the last 5 deaths in 4 weeks at HMP Nottingham. Sad times. Right, guys, leave it here. Speak to y'all soon. Bye.